Okay, guys, this is a quick tutorial to get you using something called masking. So I've mentioned in the past when we were doing the selection tutorial specifically that we learn a bunch of tools in the selection menu here or in the selection tool set that I don't actually use all that often. They are useful for some things, but I mentioned that I'd be teaching you another way to work on that. So, and of course, you can still use selections in the same way that you have to make selections, and sometimes they'll come in handy. You may want to, make a selection of some element, and knowing how those work, that's great. But here's how I would normally make selections. Gives me a bit more control. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using this graphic here of a balloon, and we're going to be dropping it into this image here. Okay, and this is called masking. So first I'm going to start off here. You can, if you'd like to, you can go to your window and go to arrange two up vertical if you want to see them both at the same time, but you don't need to. I'm just going to basically take one graphic and drop it into the other. So I'll just go back to workspace and arrange and into tabs. Okay, and I'm going to, from here, move tool V on my keyboard, drag it over to the other tab, and then let go in the center. Okay, and it gives me my balloon on a new layer. Okay, first I'm going to rename this balloon by double clicking the name. And what I basically want to do is I want to kind of cut this out without using the eraser. Now, we could, I could just take the eraser tool and erase the part that I don't want. Make this a hard edge. And I erase all the stuff that I want, make it a little bit bigger. Okay, and so that's fine, that'll do a good job. And then I go in there and I get a little, closer. The problem is as I erase stuff, you can see that it's gone, it's disappeared, right? And so I can go back in my history, but I'm going to have to be really careful about how well I do that. And that's not what I'm looking to do. So we're going to restart. We'll go back in our history to the point before I use the eraser. Okay, and we're going to learn how to mask out an image. Okay, let me reset my workspace just so that it looks the same for you. So I'm going to go Essentials, reset Essentials. Okay, and I'm going to hit D on my keyboard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the masking tool to basically cut this away, but I'm not going to actually erase it. It's not going to get rid of it. It's just going to hide it. And the way that I always explain masking is if you think about a photo frame. So you go to Walmart and you go to the frame or the photography section and you grab a frame, and sometimes they have these frames that are in shapes, and you put your photo behind the shape and it only shows through the part of the frame that shows, or the part of the picture that shows through the frame. So if it's a heart shape, it shows a heart shape. If it's a circle or a square or whatever, that's the part of the photo you see. You're not cutting out the photo, only showing the part that you want to see. Well, I'm going to do the same thing with masking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a mask by going layer up in my top menu. I'm going to go to layer, and I'm going to say layer mask, and I'm going to reveal all, which is going to add, there's two ways, reveal all and hide all. Reveal all is going to show me everything on my scene. Nothing is going to get removed, and hide all is going to hide everything on this layer. So watch the difference. And you're going to be looking here in my layer palette. When I click reveal all, it adds this white box and nothing changed in my view. Let me undo that a step and do the opposite. Okay, this time I'm going to add a layer mask. So I'm going to say layer, layer mask, and this time I'm going to hide all. And what's going to happen is it's going to add a black mask. Okay, and now you'll notice that this is hidden. It's completely gone. Okay, so white shows, black hides. So what I can do now with my brush is if I just draw a circle here in white, and notice that there's these small little kind of 90-degree angle corners around the black mat. If I click here, this is now on the actual graphic, but I want to be here on the mat. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw right here with my brush tool. Okay, I'm going to set my brush tool to a hardness of 100. I'm just going to draw a circle right here, okay, with my brush tool. And what you'll see is I've drawn in white here on my mat. And what's happening is it's showing in this space what's on this layer. Let me turn this background off just so you can see what's happening. Okay, this here is this graphic being shown through this hole. Black hides, white shows. So if you remember, I mentioned that I could do this, like a heart. If I had a photo frame, right, I could have a heart shape, especially good heart shape. But there we go. There's a heart shape, right, that is showing through the image in the background. Okay, now let me just unlink these so you can see exactly what's happening. I'm going to click it right now. If I go to move, they're connected. So when I move them, everything moves together. But I'm going to unlink them just to show you what's happening. And I'm going to go to the picture here. I'm going to move the picture. And what you can see is as I move that, this is just a window. Okay, the map is just a window here showing through what's behind it. And if I keep moving that around, I get to the edge of the photo. Right? You can see it's just hiding behind this. I can also click on this layer here, and I can actually move the window around, right, and show different parts of the image. Now the image is staying still, and my mat is moving, okay, or my window is moving. I can also change my window by drawing either in white, okay, and white shows, or in black, black hides. And all I'm doing is I'm just changing the shape of this thing. Okay, and so now you can see my shape just changes and the window changes as well. Okay, V on my keyboard, and you can see all that's happening is that window is just a different shape. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to now delete this layer mask because that's not what I want. I don't want a heart or a rectangle or a square. What I actually want is I want this balloon shape. Oops, I want this balloon shape to be the window that I'm looking through. So I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to go layer, layer mask, and I'm going to say hide all. And then I'm kind of paying attention to where that mask is. So I'm going to hit D on my keyboard, okay, and I'm going to hit B for brush, and I'm going to draw roughly where this balloon is. And I'm going to bigger brush here, and I'm going to go bigger than I need to, and I'm going a little farther than I need to. I'm going kind of bigger than I want that window to actually be. All the way down here. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to zoom in. Command plus, plus, plus. Okay. And now I'm going to switch back over to my black because remember, black hides. Make my brush a little smaller. I'm just going to follow along the edge of this thing. Okay. Kind of carefully. And if I go, notice I went a little too far there. I just switch my colors to white. And then I draw back the part that I want. And you can see it brings back that edge. If I kind of go too far, oops, I got a bit more sky. Well, I flip it over, right? And now I can go along that balloon edge, carefully bringing back the part that I want. Notice if I bring my brush size down, it's actually easier to do it like this. So if I click here and hold shift, it'll draw a straight line between the point that I clicked and the next point. So I kind of would do this. I'm holding shift on my keyboard right now. Okay, shift, click, shift, click, shift, click, space bar to move, shift, click, shift, click. I'm just going to go around this edge until I'm happy with my balloon shape. Okay, and maybe I'll just do this a little bit more quickly just so you guys can see kind of roughly the finished product. Right, I might do this a little bit more carefully than I'm doing right now. Click, click, click. I'm holding shift this whole time. Now I'm not. I'm release shift, space bar, click, shift, holding shift this whole time, letting go of shift and drawing, hand-free drawing. Okay, click, hold shift, and finish up a free drawing here, and let go of shift. Okay, and I'm just gonna space bar. So there, and I went a little too far here, so I might actually hit X on my keyboard to go back to my white and just sort of see what's here. I don't need that. Command Z, undo. All right, I'm gonna zoom out. Command minus. Let's turn on that background layer. All right, so there's our balloon. Now, obviously, I want that balloon to be up in the sky, so I'll hit Z on my keyboard. Because they're still linked, okay, when I move them, the window moves with the shape of the balloon. I'm gonna put it there. Okay, now notice if I unlink this and I go and I move the mask, right, which is this guy here. When I do that, Command Z, it moves the actual window, which is just, just the shape that I drew, which is the shape of that balloon. And it just so happens that it happens to be exactly the same size because that's how I drew it. Command Z, undo. Or if I move the balloon photo, right, around the back, that window stays still and I'm just showing through what's in the back. Okay, easy peasy. Right, I'm gonna link those back together so that when I do move them, it makes sense, right? And then what I could do is if I want to, if I hold shift and click here on this mask, it temporarily disables. You see that it like gets rid of the window and just shows you that page, right? So I can just link, undo that. And now I can look here and go, all right, I'm gonna bring these three in as well. So I kind of visually remember roughly where that is. Hold shift and click here again, and then be on my keyboard for brush. I want to show, so I'm going to change my keyboard, my brush color to white by hitting D on my keyboard, and then X to switch to white. A little bigger, and make sure that you're on the mask. I almost accidentally drew here, so notice what happens if I draw here. And I'm drawing here, nothing's happening, right? No, it's actually what's happening is I'm drawing in white on my actual balloon. Watch. Here, let me turn this mask off and see what I just did. I drew all this white because I'm drawing white on my brush on this layer because that's what's selected. Okay, so I'm going to undo that until all that white is gone. If I was drawing with black and I hit my brush tool, I'm drawing here. I'm like, oh, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Yes, it is. It's just drawing on this layer here, right? And I don't want to do that. Okay, so undo, undo, undo until that's gone. I want to be on this layer, drawing in black or white. So if I want to show, I want it to be white. And there's that balloon that I want. So I'm going to draw more than I need. Command plus space bar. Okay, X to draw in black. Square bracket to get smaller. And I'm going to just hide the stuff that I don't want. I'm doing a terrible job. You'll do a better job, I'm sure, I hope. And done. Poorly shaped balloon. You won't. You'll have a beautiful balloon. But unfortunately, I'm a terrible looking balloon. Yeah, I could actually go and make my brush bigger and hit X on my keyboard, and I can just use like a round. It's not there. Anyways, it takes a little bit of practice and trial and error to get right, but I think you get the idea. Okay, so that's that. I'm gonna zoom that, and I might bring back, a few of those balloons just to make it interesting. And the other thing I might do is I might create a new layer between these two layers and call it shadow, right? And if you remember, we looked at how shadows might work. So what I might do here is I might actually just, even if I just rough out the shape of this thing, it doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and I take that selection, and on this layer here, the shadow layer, I'm going to go. We've looked at transform before, but we haven't seen that you can transform a selection. I'm actually going to redraw that. That was terrible. Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go select. I'm going to go modify, and I'm going to feather my. Actually, no. Before that, I'm going to transform my selection. So I want to make it. So we've transformed shapes before, but notice I can transform a selection. So what I'm going to do is, oops, to rotate it, and then if I will command on my keyboard, I can skew this so it looks. And then apply this. I'm now going to go select, modify. I'm going to feather my edges by, let's say, 15. I don't know, maybe 18. Okay, hit OK. And on this layer, I can just add black fill. So edit, fill with foreground color or with black. Let's say black. Okay. And then I'm going to bring my Command D to deselect that. And I'm going to bring the opacity down to like 18%. That looks a little big. I'm going to go Command T and bring the size of this thing down a little. shift and skew it a little bit. Right, like that, maybe. And then move it over here. And I might do another shadow as well, just on top of it. I'm gonna make a duplicate of this layer. Okay, Command T. Longer. That's a bit dark. I'm gonna bring that down to like 10%. Right, and now I'm gonna go shadows. I might do another one over here. But not too worried about that. Looks okay. And there we go. There's our masking tutorial. Okay, give that a shot and see how it goes. Good luck.